Next up. Okay, Police Commission meetings called to order. Full board with the exception of Council President Rodriguez present. Chief, you want to take it from there?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor and members of the Commission. This evening, in addition to our normal agenda, I would ask that we move into executive session at the end of the meeting for the purpose of personnel matters to include interviews for both police officer candidate as well as the promotional interviews for the position of sergeant. In regards to some communication since our last meeting, we did share a press release dated April 1st in regards to a fatal stabbing that occurred at 33 Ruth Court. The details are pretty much in that press release. If you'd like to discuss them, I'm more than willing to discuss whatever it is there. I just would like to put out like the response of the police department was outstanding that day. Very quick, and I really think that was a testament to us finding the suspect, is having such a quick response, and the membership just looking to work right away. So I just definitely want to highlight that they did an outstanding job. Thoughts, questions with that situation?
I think we all concur,
It's
Chief.
all over. Additional press release that was put out, Lieutenant Dolan did it this past Friday, April 12th, in regards to the arrest in the cold case murder from March 11, 2019, in which the victim was, Sebastian Avalon Medina. That was on Knapp Avenue. Been years of working that case. Detective Rosen's been the lead detective on that case and has done an outstanding job keeping the momentum going and the movement going forward. He's made some really great breaks. We're not done. There's still more to come. So I'm very happy with the progress there and the efforts put in by the membership there. But if you would like any information that I could give or discuss with that. I did forward the commission the minutes from the March meeting for your review. Would you like to discuss the minutes at all?
You're good?
I got that? Thank you. Being no discussion, could I have a motion to accept them as written? I have a motion by Commissioner Mills, second by Commissioner Sullivan. All in favor?
Aye.
Appreciate that. In regards to the statistics for the month of March, during the month of March, the department handled 2,884 calls for service, a slight increase from the month of February, where in February the department handled 2,561 calls for service. We did see a slight increase in both Part 1 and Part 2 crimes for the month of March. For Part 1 crimes for the month of March, we investigated 53 Part 1 crimes, 16 of which fell in the violent category, 13 of which were assaults. 37 of those Part 1 crimes were considered property crimes, 33 of which were larceny related. Slight increase, as I mentioned, in February, we handled 46 Part 1 crimes. Part 2 crimes for the month of March, the department investigated 186 Part 2 crimes in comparison to 181 in February. Arrests for the month of March, the department made 203 arrests, slight increase over the previous month of 201 arrests. Traffic summons, we saw a pretty significant decrease for the month of March, down to 336 in comparison to 507. I did have to pull our traffic officer for a few weeks during the month of March into April, so we're talking about getting a traffic officer back out there, so that should bring those right back up for us and address the needs as well. Parking tickets for the month of March, 434 in comparison to 531 in February. Total uses of force. For the month of March, there were 12 incidents that ended in some type of use of force, which equates to just under 6% of total arrests at 5.91% of total arrests. The department investigated for the month of March 2 reports of shots fired. One was founded, one was unfounded. The founded was on March 4th at 118 Cottage Street. I did brief the commission on that last month, and that is something that we're actively working, and we've made some really good progress in that one as well, which I could give a little bit more detail in executive session on that one. Any questions in regards to statistics?
Good.
Staffing. In regards to our current staffing, as we sit here this evening, there are currently 3 vacancies We have 72 sworn personnel out of our 75 budgeted number. Out of the 72, 1 is still on military leave. I have 5 in field training, 2 of which will be going for their final ride-along, field training ride-along tomorrow, which will free up 2 additional people, or add 2 additional people to the patrols. And I have 1 in the police academy out of that as well. I still also have 1 that is currently suspended out of that 72. As I mentioned in the previous month's meeting, Officer Micah Rupert has resigned. His resignation was effective April 8th, and he started his career with the New York State Police. I wish him the best. This evening, I do have a candidate for police officer to present to the commission for interview purposes. This candidate is a certified police officer. He currently works for the New York City Police Department. He's been there for just about 3 years. His commitment, his 3-year commitment to the department is completed on May 7th of this year. So he's right there in that window. Additionally, this evening, I will have 4 candidates for the position of sergeant for the commission to interview. There's 1 current open sergeant's position. In addition to that, I would like to request that from the commission the ability to give a new sergeants and detectives exam in 2025. This one will be just over 2 years old at that point, and we have some new people that would be interested in taking it. So I don't know if the commission is open to that or not, or would like to discuss it further. Good. So I will make that request through the Civil Service Department, and it most likely will be the fall of 25. I believe it's the fall of 25. Could be the spring, but it's given once a year. To help with our vacancies, we are giving another agility exam in collaboration with Civil Service. This, not this Saturday, the following Saturday, April 27th. That'll be our next group of potential eligible police officer candidates. We're doing the traditional list as well as the bilingual list as well. So we're hoping to have a good turnout that day, and hopefully it'll give us additional potential candidates. Any questions in regards to staffing?
None.
I'm just going to read through the list of training that the department participated in throughout the month of March. Writing reports, NIBR style, basic criminal investigators course, electronic surveillance course, contraband concealment course, Orange and Rockland 101 emergencies course, lawman training course, transformational leadership course, general topics instructor, and working undercover preparing for the dark side training course. In regards to community events that we're working on right now, we currently have one of our youth leadership academies underway, in which we have 28 students. So again, great attendance. Sergeant Welch oversees that, does a great job. If the commission ever would like to attend one of those, just let me know, and I'll make sure that we get you there and that they're ready for you. Case review. The last meeting, I briefed the commission on some of the situations we were dealing with and how we were pushing the information out to patrol officers to get all hands on deck to try to combat some of that. That's proven effective because on March 13th and March 15th, based on that information that's being put out to the officers were able to actually make 2 very significant arrests. So on the 13th, on Harrison Street, Officer Quillas, along with Officer Ciandra and Officer Barclay, arrested a 17-year-old male with an illegal loaded handgun. Through the investigation, it was found that that individual is actually related to some of our past shots fired calls. And then again, on March 15th, on Franklin Street, once again, Officer Quillas, along with Officers Ortiz and Barclay, arrested a 16-year-old male with an illegally possessed loaded handgun, again related to our ongoing situations and calls of violence. So we're realizing pushing that information out, making it more current and relevant. The officers are taking it and acting upon it, and it's been very effective and useful. And both of those, Officer Quillas was the initiating officer, so very, very happy for him, and shows the good work that they do.
Chief, do they get the 5 years that New York is supposed to impose extra for carrying a loaded weapon? 3.5 years. 3.5
So,
extra?
yeah, we don't, Yeah,
3.5.
That's a good way to respond to that
It's a
selective.
billboard.
It's just a billboard.
So, with both of these individuals, they're both considered juvenile, so that's one reason I won't put out their name, but, also, I don't believe they would be given the same sanctions based on their age.
And one of them's like multiple offense, right? Twice he's been caught?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So we are doing our best to work through that process. I did forward the commission a tremendous amount of internal investigations for review and a tremendous amount of policies for review. I don't know if the commission had the opportunity to review any of them, if you would like to discuss any of them, if you need more time, if you would like to move forward on anything with that. There were 20 internal investigations that I forwarded through the Google Drive, and 21 updated policies, again, through the Google Drive.
I'm okay.
It's up to.
We're good. We're all good.
So in regards to the internal investigations, just for record purposes, I'll just read a brief summary of them, if the commission would like to discuss any of them specifically. So it would be blotter number 23-11, or 15530, which was a use of force injury to a defendant. The investigation found no violations of policy. Blotter number 241395, damage to the parking enforcement vehicle. Investigation found no violations of policy. Blotter number 23-11739, damage to patrol car 17. Investigation found no violations of policy. Blotter number 23-8265, use of force injury to defendant. Investigation found no violations of policy. Blotter number 23-27469 is a motor vehicle accident with patrol car 7. It is a violation of policy that ended with a verbal counseling. An incident without a blotter, it's dated February 9th. It's with regards to a family court order of protection that was issued and then lifted. The investigation showed no violations of policy. Blotter number 2322608 is an injury to an officer and damage to patrol vehicle number 11. Investigation showed no violation, or found no violations of policy. Blotter 23-31406, injury to an officer. Investigation found no violations of policy. Blotter 2323733, use of force injury to a defendant. No violations of policy were found. 22-30737, an injury to an officer. Investigation found no violations of policy. Blotter 22-28103, allegations of assault made against an officer. Investigation led to verbal counseling of the officer. Did not find any assault, though, against the officer. Blotter 22-29699, use of force injury sustained to a defendant. That investigation led to identified training issues with the officers involved that have been addressed. Blotter number 23-869 is a use of force injury to a juvenile and injury to the officer involved. The investigation found no violations of policy. Next is a combination of two different blotters, 23-32959 and 24-3069. This investigation found violations of policy and resulted in a loss of time to the involved officer. An incident that is dated November 28th of 2023, which was a workplace harassment complaint. The investigation found that complaint to not be sustained. A January 24th, 2024 incident was a workplace harassment complaint, which was found to be sustained and addressed with verbal counseling to the involved parties. An incident dated April 26, 2023, damage to a patrol vehicle that was located or identified, which was a violation of policy, resulted in verbal counseling to the officer involved. Blotter number 24-1715, damage to patrol vehicle number 4, violation of policy, verbal counseling, deemed to be an innocent accident. Policy or blotter number 23-34522, damage to patrol car number 8, violation of policy, resulted in verbal counseling. Blotter 23-3602, injury to an officer, investigation found no violations of policy. Would the commission like to
Make a motion,
Motion, I have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez,
accept them?
Second.
second by Commissioner Vignola. All in favor to accept those investigations as written? All in
Aye.
favor? Thank you. The same for the updates and the policies. There's 21 of them. As you saw, most of them were just small minor changes that were highlighted in a different color font. Would the commission like to discuss any of them in detail? All made sense,
Make a
simple?
motion.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, just for record purposes. I have a second by Commissioner Mills. Just like to read them just for the record. So the policy updates, we're speaking of our policy number 401, bias-based policing, policy 310, canines, policy 9021, custodial searches, policy 1036, disciplinary action, policy 311, domestic violence, policy 342, extreme risk protection orders, policy 306, firearms, policy 1018, lactation breaks, policy 1031, line of duty deaths, policy 316, missing persons, policy 339, Native American grave protection and reparation, policy 1019, payroll records, policy 1029, performance history audits, policy 701, personal communication devices, policy 803, records division, policy 1000, recruitment and selection, policy 349, transgender, intersex, and gender nonconforming individuals. Policy 1010 is uniform and civilian attire. Policy 300, use of force. Policy 607, warrant service. Policy 1032, wellness program. So I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Mills. All in favor to accept those changes as written?
Yes.
Aye.
All in favor? Commissioners, that's all I have on my agenda, other than items related to personnel matters that I'd request to speak about in executive session. Does the commission have anything they would like to speak about or address? No. We do have a couple members in our audience. Does anyone have any questions for myself or the commission? Thank you. Being no questions from the commission or the audience, I'd make a request to move into executive session. If I could have a motion.
Eileen, anything online? Anyone?
Oh. Eileen, anyone online?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
Please be advised this ends the public portion of today's meeting. Thank you.
So motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
I have a motion by the mayor, second
Second.
by Commissioner Rodriguez. All in favor? Yes. Move into executive session for personnel matters at 4:50 PM.